So when I first moved to my property, one of my very first things that I really wanted to do was try to make money and profit off my land. That's one of major motivations on why I started farming. And let me show you the first couple of tries and attempts that I've did. Right now I make most of my money from pig farming, so you know that's not going to change. I also shrimps and some other little things like that. And as you see behind me, this is actually where I started my first garden bed. As you see, it is bone dry, and let me show you why. There's a huge misconception that Florida is a great place to grow, and it really is. And as you see, it is literally sand. This is pure beach sand. Let me show you. As you see, there's a lot of organic matter here. Our neighbor, they gave us a lot of horse manure that we were able to build up these beds with, but it doesn't help. Here's a perfect example of what Florida soil is. Again, it is just beach sand. And the issue with this is any water you put on this, any nutrients, any fertilizer, it literally just washes through. If you don't water this for a day, as you see, you know, it becomes completely dry immediately. And it's so bad that it'll even form sinkholes. As you see, it hasn't rained in a bit, so it's not too deep, but it will literally form a hole, and you'll see you'll be trying to spray here water, and it'll just whoop, funnel through and just somehow disappear into the dirt. Completely dig this all up about 4 or 5 inches and put in good soil, and you know, now as you see, whenever I water it, it actually stays wet. So the next thing I did was hydroponics. As you see, they're underneath my solar panels, and they worked great until the sun started hitting them. When the sun hits them, it's either that they either heat up or the algae. I'm not sure. I still want to do hydroponics. I still want to figure it out, but it is not as simple as you might think. Because what happens is you get root rot and the plants just die. So here it was my first successful experiment at growing, and pretty much all I did was put a black tarp down and pretty much grew plants in pots. And that worked fabulous. Each one I set up an irrigation system, as you see, and it was connected to an irrigation timer. Two issues about that is I need a lot of irrigation setups for each one of these little pots, and obviously these pots aren't big enough, you know, to grow a full tomato plant or whatever. So but it worked. It grew really well, really quick, really crazy. I loved it. It was very fantastic. So that's where I really wanted to get into raised beds. So about 3 months ago, I got a free raised bed system from these guys, and man, I love them so much. So this video is going to be a little bit about that, showing the process and the future plans for my property, because I want to do, you know, a full, probably like a half acre to start with, raised bed systems, growing everything I can imagine. But great things about them is they're very customizable. So they send you these metal panels, and you just bolt them together, whatever system you want. So I got actually this heart shaped one, but as you see, I made it into like a little L shape. So as you see, I took one panel off, so it's only one here, and then as you see, I think I got this one. I'm not sure, but anyways, yeah, sorry, I got this one, so I made it a single U like this, and I extended this one to make it longer. So that's a great thing about this, is making it customizable. As you'll see, it looks absolutely beautiful. I love it. Still gotta figure something better over here, but you know, it's growing, and as you see the plants, they're growing fabulous because of that. Because of this raised bed system, it also prevents weeds and stuff from growing. As you see, I mean, you'll still get weeds, but the seeds, they you know, when the wind blows, they'll kind of like roll over the ground, but not too much over here. So there's just so many benefits about raised bed systems. You can look them up online, but as you see, the proof is in the pudding, and does it work? Although my plants are in pretty rough shape, it's because we just got from the frost. We just passed our last freeze about a week ago, so finally I can start planting again. Pretty excited to see what I'm going to put in here and what grows out. Found myself a couple grubs. Let's get that for the chickens. Alright, finally got it all assembled. It was pretty easy. The only issue I'd say I have is taking the plastic wrapper off these curves. Otherwise, it was very easy to assemble this very quick. Over here, I replanted some of the elephant lilies and packed it full of sand. That way it prevents this rock from moving, I'd have an issue of occasionally it'd actually push that way. And luckily with this thing, it'll hold it back. So yeah, this is gonna be a pretty little garden. I do like these plastic raised beds a lot more, but these are way more expensive. I'll do a video on actually building a bunch of plastic raised beds, a lot more of them. Again, sorry all my plants are dead. It's been frozen, so you know, a lot of them got frostbite and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna start filling this up and start planting. So first I filled it up with a bunch of organic matter. You can already see insects and stuff inside of it. You do not want to do too much organic matter. You only want about 5%, even though this looks like a lot. It's going to compact severely once I start putting sand and soil on top of it. This is my fruiting room chamber for my mushrooms. You saw one video of me inoculating the mushrooms with corn. I do want to further expand my projects, but honestly the last couple months I really haven't done much. This is supposed to be some red reishi. It hasn't fruited yet, but it's starting to grow. But I do have a bunch of old cans which have went bad. So here's some Florida oyster, for example. So a bunch of these cans, I'm gonna also put them in the garden. They'll hopefully start inoculation of some mushroom species, and most importantly, they'll help a lot with composting that organic matter and providing nutrients for the plants. But also, hopefully, I can grow mushrooms out of it. Here's a good red reishi jar, and I've left this one for a long time. As you see, it's already started to fruit a little bit. But again, I really haven't spent much time on my mushroom projects, so hopefully I do want to get back to them soon, but I have other things I need to focus on now. Even with a little bit of dirt, you see how much that organic mass that I first put is compacting. But anyways, what I'm doing next is I'm putting this black clay stuff around. Pretty much what the reason why is because this pure Florida sand, it's almost like gravel. Like any water, any fertilizer, anything you put on it, it'll just wash straight through. But this black stuff helps a ton in holding it in place, holding that water and allowing the water to properly saturate throughout the soil. I've noticed a lot of time with just Florida soil, you'll just have the water drain straight through it. Here's an example of why you want that black stuff on top of the Florida soil. As you see, it's dug a water straight through here. There's a little garden that I have in this area. I put very little, almost none of that black soil stuff, and the water just runs straight through the ground, and not all this will stay dry while there's a hole that, you know, seeps through all the water through. Now that I got the black stuff around the edges, next is to start filling up with soil. And there is such a thing as too much organic matter, and the problem with what happens is you get root rot, and the plant's roots just rot because they're just, you know, in so much decay and matter. So it's very important to have that sand, that non-organic matter, and it also provides it with minerals, nutrients, elements that is needed for the plant to grow. Alrighty, I filled it up with soil. I think it took about 4 or 5 of the wheelbarrows. Next is to top it off with another couple inches of that black soil, and yeah, gonna be finished. And man, the plants are doing beautiful, beautiful. Once the froze got over, I already ate probably like 5 or 10 strawberries already since the freeze ended about 2 weeks ago. I mean, they're just fruiting so well. Alrighty, time to harvest my first radishes. Here we go. There we go. Little, but pretty good. Cucumbers are still growing. Radishes probably need another week, but I mean, some of them are already starting to, you know, pretty decent enough. And man, do they taste great. I love them so much. The radishes at the store, they just don't have any flavor. These on the other hand, man, are they delicious. And this year I'm gonna get a lot of berries. This is my bullberry tree, but I've also noticed that everything else is starting to flower very early. Here's my blackberry plant, and as you see, already flowering, and it's just the beginning of March. This winter was really weird. It came really early. I remember the first colds came around like I think it was October. You know, which for me, right, for my entire life living in Florida, it's just too early. Typically, like the first colds, you know, they come late December. You know, maybe November. You know, and typically it keeps, you know, staying cold until like late March, but you know, middle of February, and you know, I go outside and I'm sweating, which is pretty unusual for so I'm a bit worried about the summer. Hopefully this summer ain't too hot, but yeah, I mean, at least gonna have berries. So here we go. So delicious, so much flavor. It's baffling how they manage to grow radishes at the store with like they literally just taste like water. So crunchy, just so perfect. And the tops I like to give for my rabbits. So here it is. It's almost 30 months later. And as you see, the cucumbers are growing great. I've already picked the radishes over and over. Really delicious. I love it. I give the tops to the rabbits. They love it. But yeah, let me show you the cucumbers. There they are. Plenty of cucumbers. I've already picked the cucumbers here. As you see, there's more growing. You know, so on and so forth. So I really love this. Love it so much. My mom has been mostly taking care of this though, and it helps her a ton because she doesn't have to bend down a ton. And the most important thing is the soil quality, and it just retains the moisture in the soil. I mean, nearby, you know, you could see how it's just completely dry, but here she put some toppings on top. But you know, in here you see how it just retains the soil so much better. It retains the moisture, all the nutrients, everything else. Issue with Florida soil is, as I explained, is the sandy soil and everything just drains right through. Completely terrible. But this, I mean, complete success. So next thing is just to make a bunch of more of them, and that I will need the skid steer for. And right above this, I got this mulberries. So many mulberries, as you see. Oh, and they're so yummy. So good. Here's all the pickles I've gotten for today. And man, are they delicious. So here it is. As you see, it's up because I've ran an engine and, you know, tested the hydraulics, and the cylinders went up. Very excited, very happy. It worked fabulous. It's got optimized controls, you know, do a little more here and there. Here, let me show you. So I got to replace the seals on the drive axles. They're leaking a little bit. But other than that, I've replaced all the hydraulic hoses. I've rebuilt the hydraulic pump. Obviously, you know, the motor. I got to figure out some way to pretty much create a control system. So this is actually how so this is the drive pump, and this controls the pump, and you know, front and reverse on the two drive motors. So I want to have a joystick control on this because I don't like the foot pedal control. The foot pedals is how you control the bucket, and these two arms is how you control the arms. Typically used to the standard joystick model, so one joystick controls the two motors and one joystick controls the bucket. So I like that a lot more. Also going to add a additional PTO control on the bucket, so if I want to, you know, add in any sort of accessories. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much almost done. I gotta put the gas tank back in. I'm right now putting in the controls for throttle body. I already hooked up the radiator, hydraulic, put in pipes, everything else, all the fitting diagram schematics for the hydraulic oil fitting. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much finished. Right here is the fuel pump, and it just goes underneath. I already put it in, but I took it out because I want to replace these sails, and I need to access this inside. Yeah, very very excited. You know, I mean, it's I've gone a long way for to get to this point. I've probably put in like around 4 or 5 months of work, and you know, finally it drove. You know, I put it didn't drive, but I tested the controls on the hydraulic pump, and both of them moved. And obviously the piston, the boom went up, bucket moved. So it's just all about putting it back together. So pretty soon you're gonna see a lot of new updates on here. So like I said, a lot of huge updates, a lot of huge things gonna happen around the farm pretty soon. I'm gonna be finally able to clean up all this mess behind me. I'm working on building my own spray foam installation rig also, so that's gonna come up soon. Pretty soon, lots of things are gonna come by. Sorry for the lackluster in videos. I've just been always working. I'm upgrading my Bridgeport to CNC. I'm almost done with that, so a video on that pretty soon. But yeah, pretty soon a lot of things are coming up. Remember to subscribe and stay tuned. A corn snake that's living in my gate and I can't close it. Please move.
Please move, Sneaky. Get out. Here we go. Here we go. Get under. Let me close it. Ugh. Bye. Bye.